morning. This is TCR, TroyCommunityRadio.com. I'm Clint Myers on 107.1 WTJN for David Denoyer on TCTV. Time now for the Mayor's Report, and with me this morning, Mayor Michael Beamish. Good morning.
Well, good morning, and brr, it was cold this week.
Old Man Winter has certainly shown his face.
He's come along with a vengeance this past week. We've had both snow, we've had severe cold temperatures.
Bitter cold.
And but we've gotten through that, and here we are on Saturday doing this, airing this show, and I would hope that everybody is surviving nicely.
Yes.
It is winter.
Well, I'll tell you what, kids started off on a 2-hour delay on Tuesday because of bitter cold temperatures. Of course, they had Monday off with it being Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Yeah. Now, you were in the walk.
I was in the walk. It was a cold walk. I think it was probably the coldest day of the year so far, and we did gather. And it was a nice crowd that gathered, and we did have our walk. We walked first to the police station where Reverend Culp did a prayer for all of our law enforcement, all of our first responders, and all of the country, providing safety for all. And then we marched, we walked over down the street and ended up at the First Church, First United Church of Christ, where Pastor Allen greeted us, and we had a service there, a ceremony, an observance. And then after that, she invited us downstairs to their Undercroft, and we had a nice little luncheon. So we warmed up, but it was a cold, brisk walk. And I got to say, to our street crews, too often they get unnoticed. But they're out there in all kinds of weather. We didn't have a delay in our services for recycling, our services for trash pickup. So that means somebody was out there doing their job in bitter cold weather.
That's what I always say that I see in the morning downtown. Before there's really any people out moving on the streets, you've got the city workers are already out there getting it ready for us to be out on.
Well, and they did pre-treat.
Yes.
Whenever we can, and we foresee maybe some bad weather coming in, you'll see crews out there, and they're putting brine on the roads as a pre-treat, which allows, if it does have a snow event, it just helps us all keeping the roads as clear and safe as possible. So a big shout out goes to all those who are out in the bitter cold, and not just our own city street crews, even though they work very, very hard, and sometimes a nice kind word would be good to give to them. But there are so many people. Think of all the electricians and all the construction and all those folks that are out there doing their jobs. But it's a little tougher when that temperature just plummets, or we have a snow event, and they're still out there.
Absolutely. Now, I know when we had talked to Jerry Mullins before, actually when they brine the streets, it gets the salt down in the pavement, and it keeps that ice or snow from really adhering to the road.
It really helps us in the long run. But people, I think, sometimes look and they say, "What's that on the street?" Well, that's the pre-treatment that helps us for if there is a snow event
before the storm.
Before the storm, and that again is a compliment to Jerry Mullins and his crew and the foresight that they have looking ahead for what could be.
And the brining is a savings on salt as well,
absolutely.
Because you're not just putting out that salt that's going to get kicked off the road or anything ahead of a storm.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Clint. So we're trying to be cost effective and efficient at the same time.
Now, with these cold temperatures, you and I have talked about this before. This is a great time for a community to really be that community and check on your neighbors, an elderly neighbor maybe that you have next door. When we have these bitter cold temperatures, just to make sure that everything's okay at their house.
It's just the thing to do to show care for your fellow man and citizen, and I say man, I say woman too. In fact, that leads to going back to the Martin Luther King Jr. walk. we did have a observance service, and we had a great speaker, Calvin Alston Jr., who came to us from the Columbus area. He's a pastor there, and he came down and delivered a powerful message on unifying a nation. But he talked about things that could affect us here in Troy just as easy as throughout, and just some of those things that just stuck with me. And you just mentioned one: support one another. That's what he said. How can we work better as a unified nation? Well, one is we support one another. We look at the good things. We respect one another. It doesn't mean we have to agree on everything, but we respect and we listen to each other. And his basic underlying message is together we stand, and divided we fall. We've heard that before.
Oh, yes.
And there's so much true, and a commitment that you have to make. It has to be. You have to work hard at it, because in a world that we live in today, a lot of times we have to look to the good and not to all the bad that we see. So we have to have faith. And I thought it was a great message. It's something that I have shared for, well, this is my 13th year. And I said, we got to show kindness. In fact, our signs, our welcome signs, always at the bottom, it says, be kind. And I think sometimes if we do a random act of kindness, you've talked about this before.
Absolutely.
You know, it just makes, it's an uplift. It's not a downer when you do something nice for somebody and you show some kindness. But I think every year we do the Martin Luther King walk. It was a bitter walk this time, but the service really taught us to learn from our past, but to live in the moment, in the present, and do good things. That sets that ripple effect out of being kind. And then that'll build for a peaceful tomorrow. And certainly in this world, I think we all agree we could use a little peace and love more than what we see today.
Nothing feels better than being able to put a smile on someone else's face, let alone maybe a stranger.
And we are a community.
Yes.
That's what a community does, is we unite together in a common core and have family values, and we have a mission to serve and get involved, making our community better. And that's something that I wish everybody would do.
Now, talking about, as we're talking about making our community better and living in the now and looking towards the future, now we know we didn't get passed on the ABC, America's Best Communities, but that doesn't stop anything.
No,
that doesn't mean we're not going to be one of these best communities. It just means we're not going to get a $3 million prize.
Well, we'll have to take a little more baby steps to reach our goals. And we still think the 4 initiatives that we have set for Troy are still very viable and something reachable. It's just going to take us a little time. And the revitalization plan is going to be in effect. The partners that are all involved in the city of Troy are coming together to see that through. Sure, we'd like to have had a real rah-rah celebration.
Exactly.
Going from 50 down to 15. Now, that's a big jump down to 15. And there was only one city in Ohio that's still in the running, and that's Portsmouth. So we wish them well. But when you think of all the cities that could possibly have even made the quarterfinals and then only have 15 left in the semis, we think our plan is good. We think we have a lot going for us here in the city of Troy, and we're going to move forward with things like our communication calendar, trying to coordinate all of our activities. We're going to work hard on leadership development. We're going to go back to get on the bus, and that is get on the bus. Like in the olden days, you get on a bus, you go drive around and see what the city's all about. We're thinking about reinstating that kind of a concept. The infrastructure, obviously we've got to stay up with technology. We're working very closely as a city, our partners, our school system working together. That'll continue as an initiative. And obviously, you know how I feel about our downtown. And you also know how I feel about recreation and the amenities that bring people and gravitate people to our community. The overlying whole mission is to have enough folks to take the jobs of the future that are out there, and our businesses are growing. We got to have people for them. So we need to do those little things that will entice people to come to the Troy and Miami County to live, work, play, and enjoy a family life here.
Now, I caught a post back on Facebook on Sunday from Bill McIntosh, and he was addressing the not alumni band, but the Troy Civic Band.
Oh, yes.
About the dates that they're going to be playing this year and how they're looking forward to doing it down on Treasure Island.
You know, that wasn't the only reason we wanted to have the amphitheater
Right.
there. We've had some very successful events down there with the River Rock concerts. And,
Oh, yes.
and well attended. So we know that could be a real viable park for events and activities, and certainly waterway activities
But
as well.
it's the looking ahead to springtime and know that there are events already being planned.
And not to the exclusion of Proudly Plaza and
Yes.
the downtown events. That's one of our initiatives, is to bring our park system, Treasure Island, into the downtown, make it along the river and the whole river corridor come alive with lots of activities. And I'm glad Bill McIntosh mentioned that, because one of the goals personally that I saw, I love coming and listening to the Troy Community Band. They know I'm a big cheerleader for that. Except when sometimes you go down there and there's a lot of traffic and the trains and the noise, it just distorts what the quality of that Troy Community Band presents. And these are local folks that are professionals. This gives them a venue where there may not be those kind of distractions. People can still gravitate, see the hometown band perform, and I'm looking forward.
I am so much looking forward to being able to be down on Treasure Island this spring and summer.
I think we're going to have a nice blend. We're going to have the downtown activities, and we're going to have activities in all of our parks, but Treasure Island will be coming alive. We're going to hopefully in late spring, early summer, we'll have a dedication, and
to be able to enjoy a great dinner in downtown Troy, and then you're within walking distance.
Absolutely.
Over to Treasure Island, walk down the levee, maybe
or a canoe or a kayak.
There you go, or a canoe or a kayak. It's just looking forward, especially when it's this cold outside with the weather, to kind of dream ahead into warmer weather and more summer things.
It does warm us up thinking about that, and that will come.
Yes, absolutely. One other thing I wanted to bring up, I noticed on McCaig, out on the west end of town, over the interstate, the speed limit signs are up now. So now we have a unified speed limit coming in and out of town.
And that should be a good thing for all of our motorists to have some kind of consistency there. It has always been confusing because of what's city, what's county, what's ODOT. And this way we have a unified speed limit, and that'll help us all. And it'll also provide a better safety feature, too, going out that way.
Absolutely. And I know you had said before, like with the city and county, it's kind of split in half there.
Well, it is. And again, there's that partnership of working together to try to make something better. And we do have a blessed county and a blessed community.
Absolutely. One more thing I wanted to ask you about, of course, council is Tuesday.
This past Tuesday.
Yes.
Had a delay, but we did meet, and at this time of the taping, we don't know the outcomes. But I will say, I know there were two issues that are going to be discussed and voted on. One was to develop the 4 screw pumps at the wastewater treatment plant. That was budgeted. I don't foresee any problem with that, and by now people know if that moved forward or not. I'm encouraged to think that will pass.
Move ahead.
Move ahead. The bigger thing is the Hobart Arena, and the renovation project ties right into the Riverfront Development Project. We have a treasure on our hands with the Hobart Arena. Our initial bids came in much higher than what we anticipated and our consulting firms thought it would be, and it's directly due to the economy. The economy's getting better. Construction projects are more and more frequent now, and that means outsourcing is, they've already got projects underway. So the bids came in higher, supply and demand.
Yes.
And this was a good example. But we did have a committee meeting of the whole led by President Marty Baker, and they discussed this. And I think the feeling that came out of the committee of the whole was this is an important project for the city of Troy for the future of the Hobart Arena and the events, the activities that can be brought into our community. A lot of times we think of just one venue, but think of all the outreach that provides to all the businesses within our community when we hold these activities and events in our community at Hobart Arena. So by today, I hope people will know that we're moving forward with that project. It was a lot higher than we anticipated, but again, it was due to construction costs, supply and demand.
And like you said, just the fact that the economy is getting better. You see a lot of new home construction, and there are just a lot of projects going on everywhere. My next question will be, when can we look forward to starting to see some of that development of Hobart Arena?
Well, the bid projects were really due. They've extended a little bit of the time and so the council could discuss if they wanted to support the increased cost to that. So I look for those bids to be awarded and project that'll be completed yet this winter, or not completed, but begun.
Right.
You'll start to see things happen. It'll be in segments and sections, but the ultimate goal is it'll provide us more opportunities for usage at the Hobart Arena. And so it's my hope that council will support at this past Tuesday meeting, and by now everybody knows we're moving forward with the Hobart Arena project.
Wonderful. You say a better usage, and when I hear to be able to have more usage out of Hobart Arena, I hear more revenue.
It'll be revenue. You know, there's a cost to building, and you have to pay back that cost. So we'll be using our bonding leverage, which is very good. That's one of the positives that Troy has achieved through our financial stewardship is a very, very high bond rating. Allows us to do things at low interest. So between that, our general revenue funds have come in higher than anticipated. So we're blessed there, and allows us to do some of the projects that you're going to see current and in the future.
Right, and then with what Hobart will be able to bring in
as
far as usage, it's increased revenue for Hobart Arena.
And also throughout the community.
Yes.
People usually stay at hotels. They certainly like our dining facilities that we have and all kinds of restaurants.
Nightlife here in downtown.
Nightlife, shopping. You know, downtown's a pretty viable place to come. We have all kinds of shops.
Unique
small
shops.
Businesses, backbone. But we certainly want to thank the bigger businesses and industries who have chosen Troy to be a part of and to expand. And that's another positive for Troy. So with vision, and the future looks bright.
All right. Thank you so much, Mayor. Anything else you'd like to add in this morning?
Thanks, Clint. Thanks, David, for putting this on the air. And let's just hope we can survive the winter and look to the spring.
Well, make sure you wear your mittens because it's cold outside.
It is cold. It is.
This has been the Mayor's Report with Mayor Michael Beamish. I'm Clint Myers on 107.1 WTJN for David Denoyer on TCTV.